Alright guys, I have on a shirt, I promise. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. Today I'm going to be doing the other video that I posted on my Instagram not that long ago actually, it was last week. I asked you guys if you wanted to see me do a contour do's and don'ts video, so that's what I'm going to be doing for you guys today. I don't know if you can guess head on which side is the don't side and which side is the do side. Wait, I already told you. But in this video, I'm going to be going in depth and showing you guys some of the common mistakes that I see being done with contouring and highlighting specifically. I do want to say before I start that everyone's face shape is different and everyone's preferences for how they like their face to look is different. So contouring is not a one-size-fits-all makeup trend. It's very subjective based on your facial features and how you want your face to look. So I'm going to be teaching you guys tips and tricks that are pretty general for everyone's face, at least I think, but this is the only face I have. So this is the face that I'm going to be showing you guys how to contour and highlight. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified every single time I upload a new video. Don't be a fake bitch. And if you want to see the common mistakes, do's and don'ts for contouring and highlighting, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I'm gonna start out with, I put on brows and some eyelashes so I just didn't look crazy the entire video. Okay, so first I'm just gonna put on some foundation and primer. If you don't need to use foundation, you can skip this step, but I like using foundation just to like even out my whole face. So we're starting with an even canvas all over. I feel like that makes contouring a lot easier. All right, so now let's get into contouring and highlighting. I need to choose which side is gonna be my bad side. Maybe I'll make this side my bad side. So first I'm going to start with highlighting, and I like to highlight first because I feel like it's better to apply the lighter shades first and then the darker shade. You can do it either way, but I mean, I just prefer to do the lighter shades first. So to start highlighting on the don't side, I'm gonna take a concealer that's just a little bit too light. This is really, really, really light for me. And this is like something I see happening a lot, is just using a concealer that's just a tad too light so it makes you look really washed out, and that's how you get a lot of flashback. And then I see people just applying way too much of it. So I'm gonna apply pretty heavy amount of that all the way over here. And then I see people doing like weird things like the dots. Like the dots really don't matter. It doesn't matter how you apply it. Honestly, if you just do like fun designs, it just takes longer for you to get ready. So the reason that this is a don't for me is because I have more of a wide face, so I like to make it look more narrow and contoured that way. So anytime you're applying a highlighting shade, what you're doing is emphasizing any area on your face. So anywhere I apply this light shade is just going to bring out that area of my face, if that makes sense. So by applying this highlight all the way over here, I'm going to emphasize the fact that I have a wide face when I don't want to do that. For the do side, I'm going to take a concealer that's just like maybe one and a half shades lighter than me, not anything too light and crazy. And I'm just going to apply that right underneath my eye here, stopping kind of at the center and just bringing it down into my nose. That's all I'm going to apply there. The reason I'm only stopping right here is because once you start blending it out, it's naturally just going to go to that side of your face anyway. And if you already have it over here, it's just going to look really like big and wide all over your face. So this shade is a little bit darker than I would normally go. What you can do is if you have this, like if you already bought this shade, you can mix it with a shade that's more closer to your skin tone. So sometimes I'll take like a little bit of a light one and just lightly like dab it right under there. And that way by mixing them, you'll still get the highlighted effect that you want without it looking crazy. I'm also gonna take this on my forehead a little bit, on my chin. So I just apply that concealer under my eyes, my forehead, and my chin. And then I do apply some on my nose, but I'm gonna show you guys nose contouring separately in this video, but just a little bit later. Okay, so next to blend that out, you wanna blend it out with a damp sponge. So I'm gonna start by blending out the don't side. And a common mistake I see people doing is just going in and blending it just all the way, all over. And this way you're not really focusing the highlight where you want it to go. You're just blending it all over. And this is causing you to make your foundation a lot lighter than it needs to be. Okay, so as you can see, after I've blended it out, I've pretty much covered any foundation that I put on. So there wasn't even a point in putting on foundation. If you're gonna put that much concealer under your eyes and on your face, like there's no need to really put on a foundation underneath because I pretty much covered all of it on this side of my face. Okay, for the do side, I'm gonna take a different sponge, and I like to start right underneath my eye and just pat that in directly underneath my eye because that's where I want the most light to be. So I'm just dabbing that in really lightly right underneath my eye. Maybe I should bring it a little bit closer so you guys can see. I'm just focusing this product right underneath my eye, and then I'm just going to take any excess and just bring it to where the end of my eye, like where my eye ends. I don't want to take it all the way to my hairline, just right where the end of my eye is. After you blend out your concealer, you just want to go in with whatever brush or tool that you use to apply your foundation and just blend in the very edges of it. And this will just help it seam in a lot better. This is a definite do. I said doo-doo. Next, we're going to contour. For the don't side, a contouring don't I see a lot is just using a product that's way too dark and putting on too much. So I'm going to be taking the Pure Cameo Contour Stick. It's a dual-ended stick, so it comes with a dark side and a light side. So I'm just going to be taking the dark shade because it's entirely too dark for me, but it is an amazing product. So if you are a darker skin complexion, this color would work amazing for you. I'm just going to take this color, and a don't I see happening a lot is applying it too low and applying too much. So I'm just gonna like go in with this. This is a lot. This is a lot of contour. I'm gonna apply it down here and on my forehead. This product also doesn't really work for me because it's very warm. The point of contouring is to create shadows in your face, so you want to use something that's a little bit more of a cool tone color. You can use warm if you prefer that. Sometimes I do use a warm contour if I'm not planning on looking very like chiseled. If I just want to look like bronze, I'll use like a warmer contour. But the point of contouring is to create a shadow on your face. So you want to use something that's a little bit more cool. So to contour, I'm going to be taking the Kim K contour stick, and I know there's a lot of controversy around this product, but I actually really did like the color of it. I do think for the darker contour stick that she made, for me it works really great because I love the colors that she did. She did a warm tone on one side and then a cool tone on the other side, and the cool tone works perfect for contouring the way I like to. So I'm going to take the cool tone side of it, and what you want to do is start where, sorry, let me show the edge of my head now. What you want to do is start where the top of your ear starts and end where your eye stops. So I'm just going to draw a line here, pretty thin line, and then I'm just going to make some marks that go up. And this is just going to remind you that you always want to blend your contour up. And then I'm going to go in with the darker side. I'm just going to add a little bit of a line towards the bottom just to mix in with the cool tone side. It's like perfect contouring. I don't have that big of a forehead, so I usually don't put too much on my forehead, but I will just go in just so it looks a little bit more cohesive around the full face, and just add a little bit on my forehead and then a little bit on my jawline as well. Not much, just a little. And then on my chin, I like to apply this because I have a longer face, so I want to make it look more shadow towards the bottom so it looks smaller. So I apply just a little bit on my chin as well. To blend it out, I'm going to take the MAC 130 brush, and for the don't side, I'm going to start just by going in and honestly just swiping. I see this happening a lot, and what you're doing here is you're just creating streaks in the contour. So it's not going to look really natural if you're just creating like streaks. You're also going to blend it away, so wherever you're applying the most pressure in the streaks, it's going to start to dissipate and come off your face, which is what you don't want at all either, because then your contour just looks streaky. And then I also see people like bringing this down in their face. What happens when you blend it down in your face is it brings your contour, like your cheekbones down, which is the opposite of what you want. You want to bring your cheekbones up so your face looks more chiseled when you contour. So never blend downward. Honestly, like swiping it is the worst way to blend the product in your face. Especially if you put way too much, all you're doing is just spreading it all over. Okay, so for the do side, I'm going to take the same brush and I'm just going to start towards the back, and in circular motions I'm going to blend this towards the back, but I want to make sure that I'm always blending the product up into my cheekbone as opposed to down. Always just want to make sure you're blending it upward. If you watch my videos, you've probably heard me say this a million times. Always blend up. And then for your jawline, you want to blend downward. So you're creating the shadow in your jaw to make that look more defined. For my chin, I do the same thing. I just blend it down. And then for my forehead, you want to blend it up into your hairline. I mean, I don't want to blend it up into this wig, but like normally that's what you would do. And then you want to go in with the sponge that you use to blend your concealer and just pat that right over the contoured areas, just so it blends in really well with your concealer. Next, I'm going to show you guys how I contour my nose. So first I like to start with the highlighted shade that I normally use. A mistake here would just be applying a concealer that's a little bit too light. This one works perfect. And then I'm just gonna go in and blend that out. For the don't side, I see people applying too dark of a color for one and then entirely too much. So I'm going in with the same contour that I used for the don't side, and I'm just going to apply that on my nose you really don't want to apply too much nose contour because it gets really like messy really fast. And then what happens is the middle of your face starts looking like dirty, and you don't need to bring it down as well. For the do side, I'm going to take the same contour I used, and I'm just going to draw the lightest, thinnest line. You don't need a lot of nose contour at all. Just the lightest, thinnest line of that. Just this much. You don't need a lot of it at all. And then I'm going to blend out the don't side by doing the streaky thing we talked about that we don't want to do. And then for the do side, I'm just going to go in and lightly pat that product in, so it stays really sharp where I want it to stay and doesn't slide down the rest of my face. So I'm just going in and like tapping it. So as you can see, this side of your nose gets really like muddy and dirty looking. And this side, the line just stays exactly where you want it to go and it doesn't move anywhere on your face. So it'll make your nose appear like it's more narrow. Okay, next we're going to bake. For the don't side, I'm going to take a translucent powder that's way too light for me, and that is the Laura Mercier baking powder. I'm going to go in with my beauty sponge. I'm just going to apply that powder. Yeah, this is really light. Laura Mercier does have a translucent powder that works for darker skin tones, and I really do like that product a lot. For the longest time, they only had this one, so I was never able to try it, and the times that I did try and use it, you could definitely tell if someone took a picture. I also see this happening, and on the forehead. Honestly, it's just too much. Like, you're just applying way too much of the baking powder, and what's gonna happen is it's gonna set into your pores and make you really, really dry, and then make your pores show out. Especially if you have oily skin, applying too much setting powder definitely will make that oil seep through, like a drain. It looks really, really gross. For the do side, I'm gonna take my Sasha Buttercup powder. And I like this powder a lot. This has been one of my favorites because it's more of a yellow. So for darker skin tones, highlighting with a yellow powder just shows up better and it looks better when you blend it out. So I'm gonna take just a little bit of that powder on the same sponge, and I'm just gonna focus it right underneath my eye. I'm also gonna take it down my nose a little bit. So I'm just applying that right under my eye. Again, you only wanna apply the highlighting products on the parts of your face that you wanna emphasize. So if you don't wanna emphasize your nose, don't apply highlighting products on your nose. If you don't want to emphasize your forehead, don't apply highlighting products on your forehead. Okay, so once you apply the baking powder, wow. So once you apply that baking powder, a common mistake I see is letting it sit for a while. And again, that's when it's gonna like set into your pores and have oil like seep out, and it looks really, really weird and gross. What you wanna do is apply that baking product and let it sit for maybe a minute, 2 minutes tops. 2 minutes tops. And then you just wanna go in and dust it away. I like to lightly dust it away with like a big fluffy brush. This one is the Luxie 660 Precision Foundation Brush. But I like it because it's tapered, so it can get right under my eye and just dust that powder away really nicely. So I'm letting this side just sit just a tad bit longer, and then I'm gonna dust it away with the same brush. As you can see, letting it sit longer, it does like set on your face more, so it's more prevalent. Next, we're going to set our contours with powder. So for the don't side, I'm gonna take a powder that I used to use this powder a lot, and then I realized it just looked really dark and made me look really, really muddy. This is from the Naked Skin Urban Decay Contour Palette. I'm obsessed with this palette. I've been using it every day since I got it, but I used to use this dark shade here, which was just way, way too dark. So I'm gonna apply that on my don't side, and I'm just going to tap that in. You can see it's really, really dark. Just gonna apply that anywhere where I applied that contour, on the don't side, on my chin as well. And then I'm also going to apply this don't side powder on my nose to make it even more muddy and gross. For the do side, I'm gonna take that same palette and I'm just gonna go in with the shade right here that's just a little bit lighter. It looks deceivingly light in the palette, but when you actually apply it to your face, it's pretty dark. So I'm gonna take that on a tapered blending brush like this one. I'm gonna start at the very back of my face and tap that product in, and then just kind of move it forward right over that contour. These powders are also blendable, so if you like it darker, you can go over it and layer it as dark as you want it to be. Some days I like my contour to be a lot darker, like if I'm going out or something, but most days I just like it to look more natural. I'm gonna take that same powder and I'm gonna apply it on my nose contour also. For your nose contour, you wanna be really, really careful with powder because it's easy, again, to make it look like this side, really like muddy and dark. It's just lightly tapping that powder, barely if any, honestly. I really like to build the powder on my nose because that makes it look more natural. You just lightly tap it right in here. And then you can blend that powder up into your brow bone because that helps it blend more seamlessly into your nose so it doesn't look like light then dark. You just lightly flick that powder up into your brow bone as well, so it creates a shadow where your eye ends and where your nose contour starts. Okay, so I put my hair up so you can see even better what I'm doing. This side just looks really like natural, but it does make my face look more narrow, and then this side just looks how it is. It's just, it is what it is. Okay, next I'm going to highlight. For the don't side, I'm gonna take the Laura Geller. Wow, that just fell out completely. Oh man. Just put it back. Just act like it didn't happen. Just be careful. To highlight my cheekbones, I'm gonna take the Laura Geller Gilded Honey, which is a really, really pretty highlight, but it's just way too light for me. I do like mixing it with other products though. So I'm gonna take that on a highlighting brush. This is Ray's brush from BH Cosmetics. I'm gonna douse my brush in that. I'm gonna get a lot of it in there. Over highlighting is a thing, you guys. There is a such thing as being too highlighted. Like, don't let them tell you there's not. So I'm gonna take that product, and what I see happening a lot is applying it right on your cheek. So the most product is gonna be right wherever you place brush first on your face. So you wanna try not to apply it too closely to your nose, but I do see this happening a lot. I personally think it looks better if you can't see your highlight from the very front of your face. I like to be able to like turn to the side, or like if someone glimpses the side of your face when the sun sits on it just nicely, then you can see your highlight. But a lot of people just apply too much in the very front so you can see it dead on, which I'm personally not a fan of that, but again, like, it's makeup. You can do whatever you want with your face and your makeup. If you want it to look a little bit more like everyday-ish, I wouldn't do this though. This is a lot. For the do side, I'm gonna take this highlighter from Lancome. It's called Dazzling Bronze. For my skin tone, I like to use highlighters that have a little bit more of a gold undertone in them. I think it just looks prettier on darker skin. So a common mistake I see on darker skin mainly is using a highlight like this one that's just a little bit too light. It's still pretty, but it's too light. It doesn't look nice, in my opinion. So I'm gonna take a Sigma highlighting brush for the do side. I'm gonna apply quite a bit of that powder on the brush. I'm gonna tap off any excess, and I like to start just right under my eye and just pat that product in and then sweep it towards the back. See, it's still pretty and bright. It just doesn't look as streaky and obvious as this side. I do like to bring a little bit down my cheekbone, and that's fine. So pretty. Again, I understand that sometimes this is not enough highlight for some people, and that's fine. Do your thing, girl. But for me, I like it just to look really like light and natural. Not too crazy, just so when you turn your head you can see it, as opposed to being able to see it dead on. Okay, lastly we're just going to apply some blush. Some people say you should apply blush before you do highlighting. I like doing it the opposite way because I like something that's gonna tone down the highlight and mix in really well. So blush is just gonna pull the highlighting powder and the contour powder all together. For the don't side, I'm gonna take a blush that's just entirely too light and weird. This product isn't weird though. These colors right here are amazing. This is the L'Oreal Pro Artist palette. These colors right here are really, really nice, but this color just doesn't really work that well for me. So I'm gonna apply that on my cheeks. So I'm gonna start with just a fluffy powder brush. I personally think this is like too big for blush, but I do see it happening a lot. And I'm gonna apply that product right in the center of my face. So some people like smiling and then just tapping the blush right here. This isn't gonna mix well with your contour and highlight. It's just gonna look like you put some pink shit just right in the center of your face. To me, it doesn't look good. And because this brush is so big, it's going to apply the product where you don't want it. You have less control if you're using a big brush like this to apply blush. For the do side, I'm gonna take this small chisel brush. This is from Crown Cosmetics, and I like this brush a lot because it has dense hairs that are perfect for controlling wherever you wanna put the product. You can use this for contouring, but I'm gonna use it for blush today. I'm gonna be taking the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush in Bride Blushing. I really just like this blush because it's just a good everyday blush, and this blush lasts a long time. It's like one of their 12-hour blush. Lasts forever. And I'm just going to tap that brush in there and just apply that right in the middle of my contour and highlight, just right here. And then if you want to, you can sweep it onto the apple of your cheek, but you never want to put it right here, just on the very side of the apple of your cheek. I love blush. Blush makes me so happy. It's just so pretty and nice. Maybe you guys can see, like you can see the blush a little bit, but it's just not overpowering like it is on this side. I don't know, this side is just, that contour just made me look dirty. Like I just look like I just rolled around in mud on this side. Okay, lastly, I'm going to highlight my nose, and I'm going to be taking the Deluxe Amazonian Clay highlighters. This one's from my Glam Bag. I used this in my last video. I think I really just liked how it looked on my nose. I feel like it's the perfect color for highlighting my nose. This is in the shade Idol, and I'm just going to apply this right on the button of my nose here, and then go in with a clean finger and just kind of blend it out. This blush is also amazing because it really does last a long time. I feel like the only wrong way you can highlight your nose is if you apply the wrong highlighter, like something that's too light. And then you can just go in with whatever brush you use to wipe off your powder and just kind of blend that in. And then you're done. All right, you guys, that's it. That's all I have for you. These are the contour do's and don'ts that I have. If you have any other suggestions, I love when you guys leave suggestions or correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below and start discussing with one another other tips or tricks that you might have. I read every single one of your comments, so I love seeing and learning about new things. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and it helped you in some way, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I love you so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.